Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Tish.
Edward. Good morning. How are you on this Monday morning? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. I,
Oh, okay, okay. You had a bit going on for you last week, or the 20th. Um, you were going to see a psychiatrist on Thursday.
yeah, I did see him on Thursday, but to be honest,
Yeah.
it wasn't really like helpful at all. It was kind of very brief. He asked me like my uh, biography, and
Mm.
remember like I kind of was worried if I had bipolar, and
Yeah.
that was what he asked, like if I felt if I ever felt high, and I didn't really know what to reply.
Mm, mm, mm,
So basically, afterwards, he told me that kind of there was no point in increasing my antidepressant for now. Say if
mm,
my mood wouldn't improve like in the
mm,
next 4 weeks, my GP could increase it like
mm,
from 30 to 45 milligrams, and
mm.
that he would see me like in 3 months time. So yeah, I didn't really feel any
Okay.
difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were a bit disappointed, were you?
Yeah, I was.
Mm. And when he mentioned bipolar,
So,
you didn't know whether yes or however I thought you froze there a bit under
yeah,
can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So when this psychiatrist mentioned bipolar, he was asking you, had you ever questioned it? Is it?
Yeah, that's kind of
Mm,
what he
mm,
asked if I felt high, and I thought it kind of was kind of his job to
to do that. Yeah,
identify that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it really, for you to be able to make that kind of a I don't know. I think many people will consider bipolar as an option when they're going through depression of any sort. Because you do experience, I'm okay these days and I have loads of energy and I'm enthusiastic. And then the next day you're not so. So, I wonder what kind of, when he suggested that, where his thoughts were. Like if you were to say yes, but it's never a clear, the client can never give a clear description of their own mental state when they're in depression, you know. Um,
Yes,
you could be googling anything, and you look through the symptoms, and you could have there be numerous symptoms in various conditions that you will match. Um, but yet it's very wrong to go down the rabbit holes of each one and say, well, it could be bipolar, it could be this, it could be that, it could be the other. Because we're not. I mean, I'm not even. I would never be able to diagnose anybody, even though I know some of the symptoms. I wouldn't, nor would I say to you, well, why do you think you have bipolar? And then take that as a consideration. Because I think there's too much information out there at the moment for clients, so they can pigeonhole themselves. And then, it's kind of a biased opinion. It's a biased idea. You know what I mean?
yeah,
If you
something.
if you're done, yeah. Mm. So I'd rather, yeah, as you did, go in with a clean slate and let them diagnose you let them ask the questions, and he can do the prodding and the poking and finding out, rather than you feeding him certain information and then maybe colouring his view of the whole thing. Um,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I
So,
wasn't really kind of sure about that.
mm,
So
mm, mm,
it kind of didn't really feel different, and I
mm.
thought that maybe even my GP kind of was a bit better, like a bit clearer
Yeah,
on that.
yeah, yeah. So you don't see him for another 3 months.
Yeah, that was kind of it.
Mm, mm, mm. Okay. So not particularly helpful.
Kind of not at all.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Well,
So Carry on. Go ahead.
At least I tried the kind of the involvement center that's
Mm.
kind of
Okay.
part of a hospital,
Yes.
and it's open like from 10 to 1. So I went there like 3 times last week, so I met
Okay.
with a
Okay.
few kind of.
This is which center is this again?
It's called the Involvement Center. I
Yeah,
don't know if you've heard about them. Like a few.
I haven't actually. What do they do?
Well, it's kind of. Well, the description is kind of what they provide, like informal support. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah, it was kind of just like a chat, and I
Is
met
it
with.
a group? Is it group or is it one to one?
Yeah, it's a group. It's kind of a drop-in center, so that anyone can
Okay.
kind of, you know, come in and out, and like you wouldn't
Yeah.
have to stay like for 3 hours.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And how did you find it? What you went 3 times, which is good. That's good. How did you find it, and what did you get from it?
Well, it was nice just to have kind of, company, because I
Mm-hmm.
at least I kind of didn't feel lonely when,
Mm-hmm.
and then I met with a few people, and yeah, just we had different activities. So actually, on Friday we had like a sort of a creative writing group. So
Uh-huh.
we all kind of wrote. Well, I suggested that the topic would be like about our favorite holidays, and we kind of
Mm-hmm.
wrote just a short story about that. So
Mm-hmm.
it was actually quite nice.
Yeah. And did you find you were able to talk to the people?
Well, I was able to talk while I was. Well, when I came in, there were just like two people there, and then I could talk. But
Mhm.
when more people started to come in, and I
Mhm.
kind of started feeling a bit anxious. So
Yeah. Okay. And what about pressure to talk? Did you feel it or?
no, actually, I didn't really feel it. It was alright.
Okay, that's good because you'd hope that in those situations there'd be many people similar, and I know there's people that would be very chatty, but there would be definitely people like yourself that would come in and say, be quiet or a little bit anxious about it and just, would step back a little. And that should be accepted. If it's, that type of centre, if it's involvement, well then that's the work is to involve people no matter what, whether they're quiet or they're, extrovert and willing to get involved.
It was great. So I could just kind of, just listen to them when
Yeah,
people joined.
Okay, okay. So you went 3 times, which is saying something for us.
Yeah, because I do kind of feel lonely, just being here on my own all the time.
Mm. Yeah. Okay, so it's doing that, it's getting you out. What about friends? Have you been out with friends apart from this group?
Yeah, I tried that meetup. It's called just Meet New People in Dublin. So we had like a mystery walk like on Saturday. So I went, and it was kind of a large group, and it turned out to be a walk to Donabate. So just we took
okay.
like the train, from Connolly to Donabate, and then went to the beach, and then like up and down the beach. And yeah, it's actually kind of a considerable amount of time there. Because it takes about like 40 minutes just to walk from the train station to the beach.
Yeah. And if there is a good crowd go to that? Is there a good sized group?
Yeah, because like around 50 people responded yes to it.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it was kind of a huge group. But just as you said, like it probably was easier because it was such a big crowd, but I could kind of get lost in it.
You could get lost in it, yeah. That instead of it being just maybe 6 or 8 or 10 people, where you're obviously one of 10, but in 50 for sure you could easily get lost and just hang out with them. Could you talk to anybody, or how did you feel in the group?
Oh, to be honest, I felt a bit nervous, but I talked to like probably to 3 people there. So
yeah,
it was okay, and I kind of uh, was trying to kind of to shift my focus from like inward to outward. So I was kind of trying to kind of to be interested in their lives, just asking questions. So it was very good. Like I could just ask one brief questions and then they would go on and on answering it.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
Yeah, because people generally love to talk about themselves, don't they? You know, when you ask a question and you show interest, and not in a bad way. They love to tell you their story. So if you have one or two questions that are stored, you know, you can go through them and you can take up 10, 15 conversation. So how are you feeling this week? Do you think you're feeling less anxious? Last week you were quite anxious. How are you this week?
I'm kind of still a bit anxious.
Yeah.
And well, I asked about like doing that 3-day kind of week, so they kind of agreed to it, and they told me they kind of put together a little plan to help me kind of ease back into work. So they told me that like for the first like few days I could just kind of review what I did and kind of you know, refamiliarize myself with all the components, and then they said that I didn't really have to join group calls, you know, like where they give us updates, and instead I could just do like weekly catch-ups with my manager. So that
You're frozen, Andrew. Okay, Andrew, go back to where you froze up a little bit. You were saying you didn't have to join. They said you didn't have to join group calls.
Yes, and I could kind of instead do like just a weekly catch-up with my manager instead of that.
Okay, and how are you feeling around that?
Well, to be honest, I'm kind of still a bit anxious, but and again, I kind of don't really feel ready. But then I figured that I probably would never feel ready, so at some point I just have to kind of do it, just go back.
Yeah. And are you thinking of a particular date, or have you a day in mind?
Well, I could try until like Tuesday and Wednesday and Friday, I would say, this week.
Yeah.
So
when you think of going back or think of Friday, what sort of emotions, what feelings are you getting there?
Well, I'm kind of feeling a bit stressed because it's been so long, and I don't even know what to expect, and then I would kind of have to ask for help again, and then you know, so kind of a bit uneasy.
Yeah. And asking for help, what makes you nervous about that? What makes you anxious, filled with anxiety about that?
Well, they would say that I should be able to figure it out on my own, something like that, and that they wouldn't really have any resources to do that.
Yeah. And when you have to ask for help, Andrew, you're going to colleagues, is it? Or is there an advice, a help, support area?
Yeah.
Helping you understand a bit.
Well, yeah, probably would. At this point, I could probably just ask my manager if there is anyone in particular I could go to.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. It's a good idea there for sure. She's bound to. It is a she, isn't it? It's a female. Yeah. So, she's going to. She knows your situation, so she's going to ease you. It's evident that they want to ease you back in, and fair play to them. That's good. So if she's aware of your situation and you go to her and ask, who can I ask for help? She's going to send you. She'll match you with the person that's going to help the most. So you know that might lessen the anxiety, the stress you feel about asking anyone for help.
Yeah, and I guess just what I said, that probably during my first week I wouldn't really have to do much. could
Yeah.
just review it.
Mm.
It
Mhm.
shouldn't be
Mm.
too difficult.
Yeah. So Friday you might go in for a few hours.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking of.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good idea, I think, for you just to get back in. As you said, you probably never feel you're ready. And the longer you stay off, the less you feel you're ready. So it's just a case of trying it, and see what happens, how it goes for you. Um,
Yes, I kind
so
of just
yeah,
try it and see.
yeah. So you had a blood test organized as well in Gorey. You to
Yeah,
find your way down.
yeah, I went there. So, and when
Mm.
I got a text that we got my results, and when I should kind of continue my injections with the same dose,
Okay.
and then they asked me to organize another appointment about my like liver results. I don't really know. Maybe it's
Oh, okay.
about my cholesterol or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you don't see the GP obviously at a blood test. It's just the practice nurse, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, it was another nightmare. Just taking the
Yes, the
bus,
time. Yeah. Yeah.
and then
So
it kind of leads me to another thing that I still really want to get like a loan for a car, and I'd like to kind of
Mhm.
to continue with my driving lessons now. But that it kind of is kind of related to going back to work, and
Yeah.
yeah, I was kind of, it was really tempting to kind of to get a loan, just like from Revolut, because I got mine
Yeah.
like the last time just in a few minutes, but then
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, of course,
I,
of course.
I,
It's easy to do.
yeah, that's a problem that
Mhm.
that by making it too easy.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just
And do you feel
I
impulsive? Is there an impulsive thing there, Andrew? Do you feel that you do things on a whim as such, almost without thinking them through?
no, I kind of thought it through a little bit, and it's kind of been on the back of my mind for a long time now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be like, somehow I feel that it would help with my kind of freedom and with my independence
Yeah. Yeah.
in some way.
And how financially you would be okay? It wouldn't put you through too much stress. Yeah.
Well, if I was back at work, when I
Yeah.
would be able to
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
afford it.
Yeah. So the important thing, I suppose, is before you do that, is to get back to work and be there for a length of time where you're ready to stay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, and
Mm.
so that at least I should kind of give it a few weeks instead of just
Mhm.
getting it.
Mhm. 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 Yeah, that's true. So have you met with your neighbors or any of your closer friends?
Yeah, I met with Trevor after that walk,
Mhm.
and well, I met with one of my ex-colleagues. Well, she wasn't
Mhm.
really like a close friend, but yeah, I've kind of known
Mhm.
her for a long time now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was kind of just doing an errand for her. Like on Tuesday, she needed to get some fabric, so in Blanchardstown in Dublin. So I picked it up for her, and then she came to collect it,
Mhm.
and she kind of spent an hour here. And then she
Yeah.
asked if she could kind of come again, and then we could kind of hang out and watch a movie and something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She actually
Yeah.
kind of just kind of gave birth. So like her son is only like 6 months old. So I guess she probably wanted to get a break.
Mm. Quite possibly, but she wouldn't be coming back or asking, can she meet up with you again, if she didn't like you as a person. and
Yeah.
get something from, the company, good conversation, or that she, as you said, she can just talk, she's a friend, but to be comfortable enough to come back.
Yeah, and
That there's, at least that she's getting on with you and you're getting on with her, and that's important. Um, how did you feel like with the conversation with her? How are you? Do you find it easier to talk, or what happened?
yeah, kind of it was quite easy, but
Mm,
yeah, and I kind of usually don't really feel comfortable inviting people in, but it was okay.
yeah, yeah. And what's that about not feeling comfortable inviting people in?
Yeah,
Why is
just
that?
I feel that I will never be able to get to the same standard of like tidiness that most people have. So
Mm,
I don't really know.
yeah. And when you say that never gets the same tidiness, like, when you look at it objectively, and you stand back and look at your house and somebody else's, is it just general untidiness, or do you think that you have an issue with being able to clean the house at all? Is it causing problems for you there?
Yeah, sometimes it does. It's
Mm,
just it could be quite kind of difficult to
mhm,
maintain it. Um, yeah, just I remember like going to house of that lady who hosted like the game board night, and her house like was immaculate, and I realized I would never be able to get to clean it like that and maintain it. Uh, just with the cats, like sometimes I feel like the moment I kind of, you know, I'm finished with sleeping, I could start again, because there is like fur everywhere, and it's difficult to get rid of. I think I froze.
no, you're back.
Okay,
That's better.
there must be something wrong with my internet.
Or
I'll try
mine. I'm not
this.
quite sure. I've only had one session before this, and it's been fine. But that's not to say it's not now. Um, I've actually lost track. Yeah, we were talking about your house and why you feel the tidiness of it, I suppose. Would you consider you have a serious problem with tidiness? Are you not able to keep on top of just, normal stuff? Is it getting out of hand, or is it an unhealthy untidiness, if you know what I mean? Or is it just a general untidiness?
Yeah, probably it's kind of general tidiness now.
Yeah.
But before I used to have like a big problem, so I'm kind of just trying to maintain it, but just doing the bare
Mm.
minimum for what I
Mm.
can, so that
Mhm.
it's not getting out of hand too much.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not that there's food, old food plates, or that it's becoming unhealthy, if you know what I mean. That there's a serious issue. Um, it's hard to tell when people aren't describing. Some people come in and go, well, the kitchen has this there and it has that there, and the floor isn't, there's food everywhere, or there's I can't wash my clothes, and they're piling up, and they create a much bigger picture. Um,
Yeah, I used to have it just like that
yeah,
sometimes. It's
sometimes.
just
Okay.
so I'm kind of trying not to get to the same level, just
Yeah,
to
yeah,
upkeep it a little bit.
yeah. And when you see the house needs tidying, what stops you doing? What prevents you, I suppose? What's going on in your head that prevents you from doing whatever is needed, like whether it's a small job or a big job?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel that it would just take too much effort, and but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really kind of ready for it. Uh, and sometimes I just kind of feel so low that I don't really care what
Mm.
the,
Yeah, yeah.
what it is. So yeah, I guess probably yeah, I probably should invite her like again and again so that I could
Yeah.
maintain it.
So you keep the level of tidiness up. That's true. That's one way of doing it. Do you tend to tidy as you go, or are you more likely to I suppose to wait for till the end of the week or the end of the month before you do anything?
Oh, it depends. Like I don't really have a routine. I'm kind of trying to create it a
Mm,
little bit.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So usually I kind of see that something needs doing and do it. Well, that's just for now.
yeah.
Before I used to kind of wait uh, till it got really bad, and
Until it got
then
so bad, but yeah, you have no choice. And that is it's a good way of doing it is to try clean as you go or do a small bit, have a certain amount of jobs that you do every single week. Let's say divide them into daily, whether it's, you're washing the dishwasher, how many times would you need a week would you need to use the dishwasher? Twice
well,
or three
I don't
times?
have it.
You
I
don't
don't
have a
care.
dishwasher. That
Uh,
saves that. Well, then that you have to wash dishes, at a particular time on a particular day. Or you can, just wait for 2, 3 days, which would work better. Is it better? Can you know what I mean? Can you make a plan for yourself, like a roster almost of 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 jobs or chores that you have? Let's call them chores because housework can be a chore, for sure. That you can manage to keep up with them on a weekly basis or a daily basis.
yeah, that's what I'm kind of trying to.
Mm.
Uh,
That's what you do.
uh, yeah, I don't have that list now, but I'm kind of
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to create it. It would be good, I think, for the session. There's something I'll find. It is, yeah, back.
Andrew, you're back. You're back. Okay. Okay. It's a little bit windy here. Maybe it's something to do with my internet. But we go with what we have for the moment. So yeah, what I was saying is getting yourself a roster, whether it's on a whiteboard or a blackboard on the wall, that there's particular things that you can tick off. But keeping the amount of chores that you have to do every day small. So don't give yourself one day where you have to do 5 things. Try and divide it equally over the week. And of course then keeping, managing it that you have a day off or that you have your weekend free. So you don't feel like that every day I have to get up and do housework. It's more about just doing what you need to do to keep the house at a livable level, a healthy livable level. Nobody has a particularly tidy house, Andrew. It's more, we always perceive our houses, there's the rush around to try and get everything, throw everything into the bedroom when somebody's calling. I think everybody does that. Most people's houses are just lived in. If your house has a lived in appearance, that's fine. That's perfectly normal. And sometimes it's more comfortable for people to come into a house where, that it feels more comfortable, it feels more of a home, if it's not so tidy that you're afraid to sit down.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So,
Right.
check where your expectations of other people's, or your thoughts of where other people's houses are, and step back from your own and kind of look at it logically and go, well, is there a huge difference? Is it just that there's a few, bits left on the chair, but it's just general untidiness. It's not that it's an unhealthy untidiness. As I said, I keep going back to food, which is the easiest one to think of, that there isn't empty dinner plates stuffed in under the couch, or let's say like a teenager's room, like my teenager's room. When I used to walk into it, it was disgusting. There was so many empty food plates around that it was unhealthy. But then you put that down to just being teenagers.
Yeah, I'm
So
trying not to get to that
yeah,
level. Okay. Because, yeah, it could be quite hard. Okay.
you're looking, I'm not at that level. I'm just at, and the screen is freezing again, something awful. Yeah, so, for sure, try and keep on top of it during the week with different chores on different days. Give yourself your weekends off. But try and step back, as I said, from the picture and compare your house to, let's say, your neighbours. Say, well, it's sort of the same. It's similar. It's not filthy. It's just
I hope it.
untidy, and lessen on the pressure that you put on yourself. How is your sleeping going, Andrew?
Yeah, it's been okay. I guess what the
Mm.
increased dose of antidepressant kind of helps.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to get used to our new time now.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, but it's better now. Like, we have longer evenings.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And your diet wise, are you still eating ready meals?
Yeah, about that kind of. Remember that social prescribing service? So
Yes. Yes.
I went to that, and it turned out that they actually have a cooking class like next month on the 25th of
Oh,
April. So
good.
I just asked to put my name down for it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I could kind of learn something new.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be an excellent idea. And cooking is it's a lovely form of meditation. It's even, you're creating something and you're using your hands. So it can take you out of your head, and you just concentrate on the job in hand. And that in itself is giving your mind a rest. It gives your mind a break. So that it's fantastic to do that. That would be good for you. Plus, getting yourself up, that you'd save a few quid, maybe, or maybe not. Sometimes cooking for yourself is as expensive, but the ready meals are great. But it would be lovely to see you cooking. But that's an excellent idea.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I had on. And
Yeah. Yeah.
they actually told me about that involvement center. Yeah, there is like a kind of a working group starting next
Mm-hmm.
month, but only like for 4 weeks on a Monday, like with, working with polls. So I haven't really tried
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
So I signed up for that as well. So
Okay.
yeah, it was actually quite interesting to know about
Yeah.
all those things.
So you're keeping yourself really busy.
Like, yeah, relatively
trying.
busy.
Yeah. Yeah. And is that because you want to do things, or you just don't want to be in the house?
Well, I guess it's kind of a bit of both.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. And when you've been out, Andrew, you know, with a group, or you've met your friend, and you come back to the house, what kind of sense? What are you feeling then?
Well, but then kind of just back to my kind of regular routine, to
Mm.
being like lonely and just
Yeah.
being in the same place again. But to be honest, like after that walk in Donabate, and then after meeting with my friend, I came back like very late. It was like probably
Mm.
10:30 or something like that, so I didn't really have any energy to think about being
Yeah.
lonely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
And
was
that's good. And it's trying to shift the focus from coming back to your house and feeling like it's a source of loneliness for you. You want to shift it, and it becomes a source of relaxation, so that your time out with friends or with groups is full, and it fulfills you, and it gives you your daily dose of company. But that to come home into your safe place and relax in front of the TV is a good thing. So it's kind of to twist your perception of that. At the moment, I think what's maybe has happened to you is that your house has become the source of where you at your most depressed, where you were, you know, feeling suicidal at times, where you felt very lonely and isolated. So
I guess.
to shift that, it's like some people would, you know, hospitals, even passing a hospital will remind them of how ill, how sad they felt. So they don't even like going into visit. The smell of a hospital, they don't like going through the door, because it reminds them, it triggers them. So I wonder, is this what's happened to you, that your house has become a source of those feelings?
Yeah, I
You know,
guess
so
it
the
could
trigger.
be because I was
Yeah,
kind of an, you know,
yeah,
my
yeah.
lowest, like,
You were
so
at your lowest, exactly. So even when you're thinking of the house like that, imagine your house as almost a haven. That's where your house kept you safe when you were feeling like that. So your home kept you safe when you were feeling like that, rather than it being the source of that.
yeah,
You
I
know, that your
guess.
house wasn't the source of it. It was the thoughts, the emotions, and the feelings inside you that were the source of that, not where you live, not your home.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I guess I kind of have to separate them.
yeah, separate them, exactly, separate them, so that the house is a haven. It's where you go when you're feeling sad, but it's also where you go when you need to relax and when you're feeling good. It's not, it doesn't give you negative feelings. They were inside you. And those feelings you could attach to a place. You could have, you know, say you were going to a particular park and you were walking it every day, but while you were walking it every day, you were feeling very low, very anxious, and very depressed. You would attach those feelings to the park. And that park you may avoid for the rest of your life. You might think, oh no, I don't like going there because it reminds me of when I was feeling really bad. So it is the same with the house. The house is now a reminder of when you weren't feeling good. Um, but the house isn't the source.
Yeah, it's not really Christmas.
No. So, you know, the fact that you're going out so regularly is great, and that's really good for you. It's a really positive thing to do. But you need to be able to come back to the house to relax and to feel okay relaxing. Um,
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's true.
yeah. So
Because
it's shifting how you think. It's just shifting your thought process.
I'll still kind
Um,
of have to like work from home.
yeah.
So that was one of the another things that why I wanted to get the car, because I thought that maybe then I could kind of commute to Shannon at least, like from time
Hmm.
to time,
Yeah.
to meet
Yeah.
with
For sure.
them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, and even as you said, you have to work from home, so there's a time that you have to spend in the house. So that's makes it more important that you shift the focus do you have a particular area that you only work in, and that you can get up and walk away from it and say, well, the stress of work I leave behind there.
Yeah, it's just that desk like behind me.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you try in that area, when you close off the computer, that you push the stress back in. You know, you physically kind of say, okay, now I'm stepping out of work, I'm switching off the computer. When I switch off the computer and the screen goes black, that stress is gone. I leave that there, because if you're carrying it, you're keeping that energy with you. You know, you have it in the house, then you get up from work and you walk into the kitchen and you're still feeling that. Where you don't have the experience of going to the office and walking away and work is left behind you. You know, and the minute people walk out of close the work door behind them, they actually feel, oh, I'm out of work now. It's more difficult when you're working from home. The same with me, I'm working from home. So I have to close off everything and almost get up and maybe go outside, go for a walk, change the energy. So when I walk back in, I don't suddenly think of, oh, work, clients, scheduling, all of the stuff that goes with me. So it's about being aware of your thoughts at the time, and, you know, watching for the automatic thought is just to go back into, well, home is a depressive place to be. It depresses me, it saddens me, it makes me feel lonely.
Yeah.
That's not it. Home isn't doing that to you. That
It's kind of my thoughts. Feelings.
no matter where you go, you would have your thought. Are you frozen again, Andrew? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you now. Yeah.
No, I don't know what's actually going on with that. So what have you then planned? You're going to, this is Monday. Yes, it's Monday. So you go back to work Friday, you hope.
No, I said like I wanted to try to do like 3 days, like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Ah, okay. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay.
Just.
So you go back to work tomorrow. Yes?
Yeah, well, yeah, at least I hope I can try it. Connection is really bad. Connection's really bad.
Andrew, you're back.
Yeah, the connection seems to be really bad today.
It's so bad. It really is bad. But look, we're into the last few minutes. I noticed you're still paying €50 per session. Is
Yeah.
there any, I know because you're on reduced hours, is there, I'm not sure whether my mind will do cheaper sessions for you being on reduced hours. If you can get some sort of proof, I know maybe when you're back in work a couple of weeks and you know that you're only doing a 3-day week. I know they do it for unwaged people on social welfare, students, people on disability or anything. So if there is some way that you can prove that you're on a reduced hour, if you have a letter, I know you can upload it and they can approve you for, cheaper sessions. It's just until you get back on your feet. It might be, it would be worth thinking about, as I said, when you know that your work week is now 3 hours. If it is a case, Andrew, that you're not back in work, I would ring them and say, while you're not on disability or on a social welfare parent payment, you can supply a letter from your GP to say that you're not fit for work at the moment. And would that suffice? Would you be able to get reduced? I know they give coupons. They might give you 10 sessions or whatever it is, maybe more. But it could save you a few quid at that point. So I hate to see people struggling and still paying full fee.
Yeah, I could try that.
Just keep it in mind. Yeah. So for today is Monday. What are your plans for today? It's 10 to 11.
Yeah.
What will you do?
Well, I could try going to that involvement center again,
Yeah.
stay there for a couple of hours, and then come back and kind of. I still need to do some housework because I couldn't. Well, I didn't really do anything over the weekend.
Yeah. Okay. What is the weather like in Ireland at the moment? Tell me. We can talk about what you can, if you can air the house, if you can come back and you can change the energy, open the windows, let fresh air in. Know that your shift. If you try and look on it as that you're shifting the energy into trying to make home a positive place that does not give you feelings of not feeling well. That it can feed into you feeling more positive, that your mental state is more solid. And you almost want to get rid of the bad thoughts of, or not the bad thoughts, but the low mood thoughts, and attaching them to the house, which is why I asked about the weather. If the weather is in any way conducive, open the windows, let air in while you're cleaning the place.
Well, if it's not raining, then I'll just move across. So that's actually helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, I could kind of spend like hours of doing that.
You can. Oh, okay. So go to the involvement centre. That is a good idea. It's good to keep yourself out, but try and even think about shifting the attachment that you have to the house from it being a place of loneliness and maybe sadness to the house cannot give you that. It's in your head, and that you have to almost reclaim the house as a safe place.
Yeah, but thank you, Tish. Yeah, I was remembering about that, like opening the windows and just letting fresh air in.
Just let fresh air in. Do your bit of tidying, and not an excessive amount. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just a general tidy is fine. That's enough. That's all other people do, unless they have the opposite end of the scale and they've OCD or something. But if you didn't just give it a general, keeping your list, your doable list, the list that you have to work on through the day, that it's achievable, and that you see results. It's important that you see results at the end of every task, so you complete it. That if you've got time to complete it, it's achievable and it's manageable for you. So keep your chores smaller.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tish.
No problem, Andrew. Look, apologies for the internet. I'm not sure what was happening, but we'll talk to you again soon, okay?
All right. Bye,
okay,
Tish.
Andrew. Bye-bye.